starting with this early part of the game where Ilia's jab seemed to have a kind of different distance to it. Charles was landing nice calf kicks at the same time. Ilia right off the bat though separating himself quite a bit and throwing himself hard into that jab, and he's fighting a little more square, as you can see. So again, he's willing to eat those. This is the most kind of telling sequence of the fight in regards like what to expect from here on out. That jab being stiff in there, that right elbow that landed was the best and worst thing that Charles did, and I'll show you what I mean later. So, and he looks entirely like unfazed by it all, which I guess is par for the course, but that's his thing. So he's gonna throw a 3-2-3 right with a right hand, but not only does Ilia he's return right, not only does he return after that some fire, but it's more stiff jab right here. So Charles got that one good punch. Look at that. So he goes long with that. You see that ending with that left hook, beautiful. Charles isn't liking his read on Ilia's feints, nor those stiff jabs that can't miss. So, like Islam, however, Ilia was waiting for Charles to attempt a takedown. You can see that when he goes for it here. He's almost bullying him, and his use of hooks here is very high level, which I believe is the Greco background. Ilia is aware enough to pummel inside for an underhook, knowing that Charles likes to do like the drag down from the body lock. And that's what will allow Ilia to push and separate in order to free his hips and then misdirect the momentum, right? This is really high IQ grappling. So he's also going to do this thing where he lifts his opposite side elbow. This is very sophisticated little piece of, maybe I guess, cage grappling, but really I think of it like Greco because it's above waist. It's the game of hooks, and that's Ilia's background, so it makes a lot of sense, right? So check this out. He's just gonna get enough space to pummel because you can push with an underhook, right? So he punches through here with the underhook. Ilia will then separate the hips back and then turn Charles clockwise to free up the other hand. And that way he can establish top position because he's got a post. See right there? Pushes through, his other hand is free, his hips are free. He was able to turn him into it. So this sequence told me, if anyone did, that something had Charles either reluctant or less aggressive because he wasn't going for much here. It was almost like he wanted control, and Ilia didn't let him play that. He kind of outfoxed him there by feint getting up. Now and then here, almost getting into a mounted crucifix, which would have been horrendous had he, gotten his weight down. See any fight that had a mounted crucifix. And of course, Charles isn't a slouch on the ground, so he saves some cred here. But if you watch his far side, he's going to use his right arm and his hips to buck up, create space, and get this kind of deep half guard, Jeff Glover-ish kind of thing where he gets leg entanglement, and from there there's kind of a heel hook if he turns into it. It's a serious enough threat anyway to parlay into an actual submission or avenue to your feet if done properly. It's intelligent. It tells me that he still had wherewithal at least here, right? Again, though, what looked like, I guess a good idea or maybe a momentum switch or however it was being sold, it kind of quickly turned around on him. You'll see what I mean. So pretty quickly into this, his knee is safe. And commentary, which is all but mailed it in at this point, they didn't even notice that his knee is past the danger zone. He's already out of that. So right here, he shifts his hips inside in order to land a really solid strike. I mean, this lands. Look at that. One more time, I'm just going to slow it down a bit. But Ilia was way out of danger at this point, setting Charles up for this. In other words, he got closer with his hips to launch this right hand from the ground. And to my eyes, this lands well. Look at that. His head moved back. That was right above the eye. And afterwards, I think they said he was showing damage. So I'd argue from here out, Ilia was kind of in control. Anyway, Charles clearly didn't want to stand up with Ilia and was getting bested on the ground where he, a lot of people thought he might have the advantage. And I did correct a few friends of mine that, one of them just got their purple belt. Congrats. Asked that question. I like what he does here. At least these kicks do damage from this position, but you're also getting a read, right? He's taking notes, as I say. He's always taking notes. So again, this is just psychological, but he's looking at him taking notes because he hurt. So watch this right away. Stiff jabs, attempted calf kicks, but Ilia's jabs getting sharper and more rangy. So he's attacking it from further. See that? And he's sticking it out there, right? It's like a dead weight jab. This cadence combinatory attack definitely landed more flush than it was sold, for the commentary, but Charles looks like he's getting outgunned here and hurt. That looked like it did something, right? But Ilia's awareness to do something like this and separate, and also the effort with which he went to separate here, tells me that he knew Charles was already hurt. He kind of alluded to it post-fight as well. Another stiff jab and an uppercut here from Oliveira. So, again, it's keeping that stiff. Look at that jab. He's just pinging it. But it's that nice uppercut, it great idea. Also, it didn't. I mean, it landed, but it wasn't. That wasn't dangerous. Ilia's arms were in position. I notice. Jabs. See how it sticks it. So you stick your jab. He's sticking it. It gets sticky his hand. So he draws out that same elbow, and this is what I was talking about, where he parries it with that left, and he's gonna walk him into that right hand, and that's really fast, short left hook that follows it that he threw against Volkanovski, and it didn't land. Look at that. Is that not? That's magical. And then obviously the hammer fist was as unnecessary as the left hook ended up being, but slowed down, you can really see him eye feint downward to bring out the elbow attempt because he thought he was going to the body, and that's why he would have been, baiting out that elbow. You saw it before. He went for a jab. He looks down, right? Goes for the elbow, but he parried it before and ding, walked him unaccompanied into that right hand. The left hand again was just for measure. It was absolutely beautiful, but that sticky jab was pestering him enough to come in, and he had just jabbed the body. He kept that fresh in his mind, feinted that he was going to go low to bring that out, and he parried the elbow before it could get there. Nothing in the way of that right hand. Just absolutely masterful. If you're not like watching Ilia Topuria, I don't know what you're watching for or what you're waiting for, but this dude's special. Everyone should start paying attention. Like, it's interesting. I swear to God, I should make a video on like why his gimmick works too. But just phenomenal. He's that good. I'm not interested in like GOAT conversations because he's too young. Just let him keep going and root for it. Why compare him to old guys? It's stupid. Just root for it.